All right, we are live. Hey, hey, this is Stone Guy 223. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Tonight I've got James Yeager with us for a little Q&A, and I've got Gun Websites
Hey, thanks for the invite.
and the Tac Daddy.
You told me you'd send me an AK if I jumped on tonight, so I'm here.
Right, it's going to be a Wasser though, the shitty cheap
fine.
one. But
Dude, I've got Wassers with like 80 and 90 and 100,000 rounds through them.
yeah,
That's
honestly, I don't think there is a such thing as a shitty AK. Honestly,
I've seen a few. I've made quite a few, but but I think Wasser. I mean, I've been using them for rental guns for years and years and years, and yeah, we've worn out some and broke some and all that. But man, I'm telling you, like they're they're good guns.
well, that's a good segue. We'll just jump right into it. So, I mean, it's been in the media. We've all been kind of chatting on it here last 3, 4, 5 days. But let's get your take on the whole sanction. The sanctions put against Russia and the possibility of not being able to get any more AKs from that area. And
Well, on March 5th, I made a YouTube video that says "Buy it now." And I warned about the stuff about Russia. Everybody got mad at me for forecasting the 7N6 ban. People even actually accused me of getting 7N6 banned. And the reality is, nana boo boo. You should have listened to me and saw what you wanted.
no, I was going to ask you if you were clairvoyant because I was going to bring that up. The fact that you just did a video like a couple months back. Well, you just said May something. And
March 5th.
March, yeah. That was amazing. I mean, when the first day I heard of that shit, honest to God, that's the first thing that popped in my head. I was like, damn, James just did a video about this.
Well, here's what's funny is, Mac over at Military Arms Channel, who I think we all like. I mean, he's a damn good guy. When I forecasted this stuff, he was, posted on Bang Switch. Oh, Yeager's jumped the gun, or whatever. I can't remember what he said, but he called me actually this very afternoon and said, "Hey, man, I'm writing an article about all this stuff, and I want to include your name in it. I just wanted to get permission. Just being a professional." And he said, "I promise, I'm not going to rag you for jumping the gun anymore." but it's been an interesting year as far as the commie guns and ammo goes.
Well, it's my understanding. Everybody's been talking about the actual AK platform.
What's that? What is a platform? What is that?
Well, the rifle itself.
Oh, you mean an AK? There's no need to put there's no need to put extra words in there. It just confuses the situation. A platform is something you stand on, not something you shoot.
Touche. All right. So
it's not a weapon system either. It's a fucking rifle.
The rifle itself.
All right.
I like the AR platform.
It's modular, but they're talking about the rifle itself, and I've been really doing my due diligence and research on more of the ammo side of it, because my understanding is that the ammo is going to be affected just as much as the rifles.
That's not my understanding. I mean, Ismash was the only one singled out, so it's like everybody thinks that no AKs can be imported into the country anymore, and that's just not true. There's a bunch of places we get AKs that don't come from Ishmash, but this will effectively, unfortunately, looks like it might put Arsenal out of business.
Why so? Because that's all they import is from Russians.
Well, the Arsenal AKs they're brought into the country as Saegas and converted at Arsenal into the most realistic Russian AK that's currently available on the U.S. market.
Got it.
So what have you heard about the ammo? Because my understanding is that the sanctions put against the Russian companies, that Tula ammo filters through those companies. So even though it's not directly specified.
But just like with the AKs, we get AK ammo from different places. And the problem is, the problem is that when there's a panic buy, that creates this false shortage, and it looks like 7.6239 ammo has gone up a few cents the last week or so, but not really that much. But the Saiga rifles and stuff are just have gotten stupid, and parts kits have gotten stupid. People don't understand that it's not like your Romy G kits are fine, or whatever. People are just they don't understand. They're low information buyers.
I think that some of the confusion is because they call that the Kalashnikov concern. So when like journalists or whatever say the Kalashnikov, it seems like a sweeping term or something. And I think maybe that's getting some people off guard.
Yeah, but if you actually read the executive order, it doesn't say anything about anybody other than Ishmash.
Exactly. So far, I mean, that's exactly. There's.
Oh yeah, for today.
There's the list.
Well, I thought it was eight separate firearm companies.
But it's that
Well,
whole right there.
And it's when they say like small arms, I mean that can count like air-to-ground missiles and stuff that we can't import recreationally for sure. So that's the confusion I think is, but the media is gonna, or just reporters are gonna say small arms factories, and we think of that in a different way than other people, I think.
Go ahead.
I was going to say real quick. Let me go back and clarify, because I think this is my prediction is that it's just going to be Tula. Obviously, we're going to be able to get AK ammo, but I say that Tula is going to be the one not coming back in. Like we might, buy what we have in the country now, but I don't think Tula is going to be able to be imported anymore.
Well, but like James said, Tula isn't mentioned yet. It's not on any list. There's nothing in black and white that says Tula yet. There's one company mentioned that has an address in Tula, but Tula is just a city, so that's just an address in there.
Well, let's hope.
But James, what do you think about the potential if they're going to do the Ishmash factory? Is there any? I mean, do we have any reason to think they're not going to just do the ammo factories and the other factories as well at some point if they're really trying to put sanctions down?
Well, this is the way I look at it. This has got nothing to do with Crimea or Russia or any of that. This has got everything to do with the president saying that he's going to bypass Congress to institute gun control.
Right.
I believe that this Russian thing is just a handy diversion.
Nope, exactly. That's what I said the other night. I said this was an opportunity, a smokescreen, an opportunity for him to slide this in along with the power company and the banking sanctions that he implemented as well.
Right.
This was, because
sure,
now
it's win-win for him. It sounds great. He stopped munitions.
Right. Yeah.
We did some quick math when we first heard about it the other night, and just using the numbers that Ishmash gives us, or Sega gives us for how many rifles they bring in, we put a price on those and then took that total number compared to the rest of the sanctions, and our quick math tells us it's 0.03% of the overall sanctions. So is it really a financial burden on Russia to sanction these things?
Right, that's a negligible. That's not gonna affect anything. All it's gonna do is
gain them some political.
Exactly. Yeah.
Effort.
Exactly. So I'll kind of throw in some questions here. One relevant to this topic. Someone asked, and I think you kind of touched on this with Fuller, but it says, "Is now the time for the U.S. company to begin manufacturing trunnions and other parts?"
It's already happening. It was actually happening before this incident. And what's funny is, because I know so many people in the industry, Fuller. Actually, I just dropped Jim Fuller off the airport a couple hours ago. But the interesting thing is, I know a bunch of people in the industry that are all moving that way. And this guy's got bolts, and this guy's got trunnions, and this guy's got barrels, and this guy's got that. And so I've been doing my best to introduce all these people. So instead of everybody trying to make a barrel, why don't everybody just get their barrels from this guy? Instead of everybody trying to make a trunnion, why don't we just get our trunnions from this guy? And instead of one guy trying to make a whole rifle, let's just do it the old-fashioned American way, and everybody do what they're good at and put these damn rifles together.
And what I was going to say, what about Century? Are they? Do you know if they're offering up any parts that they're making, since they're doing 100% USAK? Are they going to be able to supply any of those parts?
That's a valid question and I got to be honest with you, until you said that, I hadn't even considered them sharing any of their stuff. But as you guys know, I do know people at Century Arms, so I'll see if they're willing to share a little bit.
What are you about to say, G?
I think that's cool. That way, they may not have done it, but not because they didn't want to, just because there wasn't a need to. You know what I mean? So, if we, I like to look at the bright side of things or the silver lining, and maybe the silver lining here is that we share a little bit, like James is saying.
Go ahead, G.
Oh, I was just saying the side there. I was just when you said that, it made me think, and I've said it before, and when we're talking about this stuff, that my personal thing is I really like the historic, the parts kits, AKs. I mean, AKs are great, they're reliable and all that, but if we had to go to a U.S. firearm, I'd just jump back to an AR. I don't hate the AR or anything. I just really appreciate the fact that we get to the spoils of war. We get to play with the stuff the Cold War built up and never used. So when we started talking about in these other discussions about this sanctions stuff with the concept of the U.S. companies coming in and building parts, I've said, hey, I don't want to discourage it, but it's just not my thing. I've been more into the collector's end of it. But when you said that, it made me think that might actually make a new AK. We all like the AK for its characteristics or whatever, but the thing about the AR is it's so modular, and the thing about the AK that keeps it from being modular is that damn taco shell receiver and the trunnions. But now, like you're saying, if somebody came out and just made a trunnion with that in mind, well, then maybe we can do a quick connect barrel like Palm came out with a few years ago and got scorned because they had to screw with the trunnions. Well, now if a U.S. trunnion's made, that might create innovation, and we might just take this AK and pull a Ruger, just like Ruger did with the P3AT. Let's make an even better AK, the U.S. AK.
So, something that people need to understand right from the beginning is that these guns are going to cost more. And they're like, well, but I can get a Wasser for $500. What you're buying is an AK at literally scrap metal prices that they're bringing over here. Like, you can't build a Wasser for $500. You can't do it. And so everybody needs to understand that American-made AKs are going to cost kind of what American ARs cost. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. So the days of the $500 AK, as far as I can tell, are probably gone for good.
Well, and that brings me to this question here. This is from Catch Bay. He says, it's kind of a difficult wording here, but he says, is James Yeager thinking, like the Rifle Dynamics guy, that it's okay to lose some of the gun rights or bans so you can live with the, what do you say, so you can live with the next one? Like, is it okay that we lost the Russian rifles because there's other rifles? I guess is what he's trying to ask.
Is he fucking kidding me? That I think that it's okay to lose rights? Me, of all fucking people?
Well, no, he's not a U.S. There's a language thing there, so we might be translating it wrong.
Oh, is that Catch Bay? Is that the dude from like Iceland or some shit?
Finland, yeah. So Finland. I'm saying we might be getting some of the cadence on that question wrong is all.
I'm sorry. Well, I don't think it's okay to give up any rights for any reason.
Okay. So I think what he's saying, he must have seen the interview with Rifle Dynamics, that Jim Fuller, and I think Jim kind of, what he was meaning is when he said, that's not the only, Russia's not the only place we can get AKs. So it's not necessarily like a death sentence that we can't import Russian stuff because we can get other pieces and parts from other countries.
Right.
So.
Well, that's what we did our State of the AK the other day about, to try to let people know, because again, I've noticed there's a lot of confusion when people are concerned about Hungarian rifle being limited. Then they're not understanding what the real situation. It's just these particular rifles for now. So yeah, you're gonna be able to buy stuff from Bulgaria or Romania or Yugoslavia. There's all that Yugoslavian stuff now.
All right. Someone else wants to know about the what's the count with the 1911?
The count?
Yeah, I guess the 1911 you got that you were going to shoot or something.
You got to wait for the video like everybody else.
All right, well, you got that, guys. He's not no spoilers yet, so.
Yeah, why would I make videos if I was just going to talk about it?
Right. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other.
While you're looking for questions, let me bring up something that we kind of talked about the other day. A couple of things, actually, that we talked about the other day, but might actually apply now the more that I'm thinking about them more seriously. First off, we were kind of kidding around that if they continued these sanctions, that we would just sneak over there on some sort of black ops and steal the Tula factory and the Izmash factory and bring them over here and put them up in Detroit and let them start kicking it out there. We were kidding around, but now that I'm thinking about it more, Detroit is kind of set up for steel production, and they got plenty of skilled people that know steel. If they're going to give us shit.
Yeah, and this is going to get me beat up, but there's a reason why Detroit is a fucking wasteland. I mean, who knows? Who knew that RoboCop was going to get it right 20 years ago? But the same thing that ruined Detroit is going to keep Detroit from growing, and that's the United Auto Workers. And I know people are going to beat me up over it, but they destroyed that city.
Well, if we can
with the
keep them out, would it be possible to start? I guess what I was going to ask is it possible to start a steel-cased ammo factory up there?
I'm sure it's possible, but it's not. Russian ammo is not so cheap because it's made out of steel. It's because they're using 80-year-old machines that have been paid off for 70 years. I mean,
exactly.
It's not because it's made out of steel. They could make them out of brass for basically the same price. It's not that.
I'm hearing from not only the local reload community, if there is such a thing, but also shops that reload that they're having a heck of a time getting gunpowder.
Yeah, that's why you shouldn't reload. You should just buy fucking ammo.
Right. Yeah. Component parts are ridiculous. I mean, with all the guys that I shoot with, in IPSC, they're always bitching about, because 90% of the IPSC guys reload, and they're always bitching about components, projectiles, and powder. Primers have come back, but
they reload so they can cheat and beat you.
That's it.
Well, they're part of the, I don't want to say problem, but they're part of the reason why there's that situation, though, and that's a good thing. It means we know there's more shooters from the political stuff in 13, and we got a lot more activity with the 3-gun matches and stuff in a good way. And I think all it is we just sort of our production got used to just the recreational shooters. So now you put recreational shooters, add on the competition shooters, and then add on a bunch of new people that just want to go shoot. And not to forget the revived interest in training. So now people want to grab 1,000 rounds and take it to a class. So maybe we just need to ramp up ammo production. And
well, that's a good point, and that kind of leads into this question I was just about to ask. Was, do you guys think that, like, I love AKs. I think everybody on this panel is an AK lover. But what percentage of the population is really adamant about having and buying, owning AKs? In other words, do you think it's going to be enough of a demographic to push U.S. companies into production, or do you think they'll just say, there's really not going to be enough market to justify making a production AK when we can make a production AR?
If this same conversation were about magazines, would we be having it? I mean, U.S. Palm, Magpul, they're making mags.
Tango down, yep.
I mean, so it's just another piece of the AK puzzle. If there's enough for at least three domestic manufacturers to make magazines, there should be enough of a demand to make something to fill the magazines.
Yeah, because like they say, the same way that the Soviets were kicking out AKs, they were kicking out magazines at tenfold. So even with all those just countless magazines on the planet, there's still that market for them. So good point.
Right. Well, and that's why I'm just curious, because obviously, amongst our circles, we understand, the AKs and the importance, but I wonder as a broader scope, how many, what is the true AK market out there?
Well, let me say this, if you want a long explanation. I've started doing training classes in 1996, and from 96 until about 2003, I probably had 5 AKs in class. And whenever somebody showed up with an AK, it was like, oh, you damn commie gun, blah blah blah, nonsense. And then what changed it? And I'll tell you what changed it. Blackwater. The first time a magazine cover had a contractor standing there with his beard and his sunglasses and his AK, AKs exploded. It started being now occasionally I have a class that's all AKs. There's not even an AR in it anymore. And so so if we go back to about 2003, 2004, there was nothing available for an AK. If you wanted a flashlight on it, you had to duct tape it to it. Look at everything that's available for AKs now, the rails, the stocks, the sights, all the stuff that's available now that wasn't available even 10 years ago, wasn't even conceived that there would even be a market for it, and it's being made.
That's a great
That's a great point. Yep. I was going to ask that later. Was how many? Is it relevant to bring an AK to a fighting rifle?
People do it all the time.
Well, that's awesome. That's I guess there's your sign right there. If people are training with them, and
as a matter of fact, if you guys saw my piece, it was on the MSNBC Rise of the AR-15. That class, they didn't want that class to be like a setup. They just wanted like people to enroll in it and them not even know they were coming. And she said, what percentage of the class is going to be ARs? And I told the producer, I said, maybe 0. She said, well, that's a long way for us to come, and there not even be an AR in the class. And I'm like, you don't want me to set it up, but so I can't guarantee you. She said, are there that many other guns? And I said, yeah. And it happens to be that class is the only one I can remember teaching since 2004 that didn't have a single AK in it. Just purely by happenstance.
Now, what's obviously for whatever political reason or just asinine logic he came up with to impose these sanctions. Realistically, do you think even in, if it goes to 2016, we get a new president? I mean, do you think this is something that's ever going to be lifted? Or, I mean,
No, I don't. I mean, any president could erase any other president's executive order via executive order, and I don't know if any have ever done that.
Right.
Well, some of you brought it up before that they've been using it differently recently. Before the executive order was like, this is the new head of the whatever ATF or something. That was the extent of them. Now that they're using them to
don't say they. There's only one.
It's this asshat that's
no. This guy. Okay, Obama's been doing it, but I mean, other presidents have used the executive order differently. He didn't come up with the idea. He's just abusing the idea, in my opinion. But but he said it publicly. Like I didn't get what I wanted in Congress, so I'm going to do it by any means possible. So we just haven't had. I was just saying we haven't had the precedents yet. But hopefully the next president will be the one to set precedents that you can remove these things just as easily as they put them. Yeah.
And I think it was funny because he campaigned on the premise that the executive orders were being overused and that he would not do that. And he's written more than any other president ever.
Well, shit, he's lied to us about everything else, so that's par for the course there. I mean, honestly, as far as the presidential election's concerned, what's the probability of us seeing Clinton? I mean, I think she's going to be the Democratic nominee for sure, but what are her chances, do you think?
At least 50% chance. I mean, like at least.
like 100%. She is the next president. Don't be fooled.
Kevin, you could just shut up. You ain't saying much, so and all that you are saying, you're just making me mad.
I'm not happy about it. One bit. But
he's like on the grassy knoll up there, and you don't really have anything good to do. Just
the fucking pessimist, huh?
Fucking Eeyore, Tack Daddy Eeyore over there.
I'm pissed about it, but she's coming.
Oh, shut up.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think she's.
I like to think people will get fed up enough, and we'll see a third party come in and just start disrupting the
God,
same.
I hope so.
I like to think that the low information voters won't care this time and won't vote this time.
Right.
We definitely need that to happen, for sure.
Let's see, what's Robbie saying? What's Yeager? What's your favorite AK?
Whichever one I have in my hand when I need to shoot somebody.
Great answer.
People are always trying to loop me into that kind of stuff, like it was AK or AR or whatever. And I swear, like, I really don't care. I mean, like, if you needed a screwdriver, do you really care what brand of screwdriver it is? I mean, really? No. I don't have this love affair with firearms like people think I do.
So this Catch Bay, he's from Finland. Is that what you said, G-Webs?
I think so, but I might be wrong, so excuse me if I'm wrong.
Well, what we're going to say is, well, you're from Finland tonight, but he basically is asking if you have foreign customers with their own gun. I guess he's saying, is it possible to travel with a gun to take your class?
You would need to talk to the State Department about importing guns into the United States. I don't know anything about that.
Have you ever had experience with someone from another country coming to take your class and the ins and outs of getting? Well, I guess. Well, let me phrase it this way: if you have someone from out of the country take your class, you could provide a rifle or a handgun for them to use.
As long as they're legally allowed to do it.
Maybe that'll help them out. Hey, what's the? Have you had anybody from another country that you know of come down to train with you?
Yeah. Yeah, we have.
How cool would it be too? Because I know you can bring at least there's something in the books for bringing a firearm into the U.S. to go hunting. So, and then for the Olympics and different kind of competitive shooting, right? Those people must be able to bring their rifles in or their shotguns in. So how cool would it be if they had a massive influx of international interest in training, or at least scenarios or something?
Keep in mind, the U.S. is about the only country that has semi-automatic AKs and ARs and stuff. Most every other place that has them, they're full auto. And those people can't bring those guns into this country.
Good point. Or they the other way, they don't have any guns at all, and then they don't have anything to bring.
Right. Is there any Americans that want to talk about training?
Well, I asked. I kind of skipped over this. It's kind of back a little bit, but Glock Guru asked, "Is there any way to fight this?" I guess he's referring to the actual sanctions.
No, you can't fight an executive order. You can't have a recall election. You can't vote him out of office. It's done.
I think you could probably just complain and picket and complain and get the news on your side, but that'd be asking a lot for what we're talking about.
It would not help. I mean,
that's all you could do is public opinion.
It's not me being a pessimist. It's me picking my battles, and you can't win that one.
Exactly. Yeah, you'd look like a fool just running up to the windmill.
Yeah, Don Quixote.
Very similar to Team Hillary.
But since we're sort of talking about that,
somebody turn Kevin's microphone off.
Since we're talking about that, though, let me bring up something else that came up in a live chat, and I thought it was a neat one for theoretical, because unfortunately, again, without a new president, or until we have a new president, it's not even an option yet. But is there a potential that once the magnifying glass is put on this whole concept of sanctions limiting the availability of a rifle from another country that was typically imported for recreational use, as opposed to sporting use, right? These aren't shotguns that are coming in for hunting exclusively like it was earlier in the history of our gun bans and tariffs and shit, but this one is really just AKs that are used in 3-gun matches or else recreationally. So I'm wondering if we can't somehow, since we have the spotlight on this, focus the spotlight back 20 years to the 94 tariffs or whatever it was, and this is a tough one to research because I've researched it myself, but the Chinese importation bans, and then show that crime has gone down since then. These stopping the export of these rifles hasn't done anything. All it did is increase imports from other countries. So there's more AKs in the country.
Who are you going to provide this evidence to?
Well, I don't know, just to get it out there so that it's out there in public record. I mean, I think I'm a big advocate for just once people know something from a different point of view, or once they realize that, again, these Chinese rifles stopped being imported, didn't affect anything. We have more AKs than ever and less crime than ever. Then maybe it's not such a critical issue to keep these restricted.
I think you're misunderstanding me. All your information is valid. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying after you compile it, what are you going to do with it? You set it in the corner. I mean,
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I don't think that I know Obama's not going to do anything with it, and I doubt the NRA is going to do anything with it. I don't even have, again, those kind of high hopes. I think that just putting it out there as a matter of public record. I have faith that when people go to do research, having stuff available like that, again, showing them that, hey, there's no reason for this importation ban. Maybe we can get rid of that importation ban. So we're about to talk about the petitions, and again, if that's valid or not, or if that's a worthy thing. But again, to try to petition perhaps to get the tariffs from the China removed so that we could bring in the Chinese AKs, and that would address the question: would we ever have $500 AKs again? Well, heck, if they turned off the Chinese tariffs or restrictions or sanctions, whatever the hell they are, we had AK rifles and ammo again. That's a new heyday of ammo, if nothing else. But definitely the AKs were cheap and well made.
Yeah, but the ammo was still core, and that's not coming in anymore.
Again, yeah, exactly. We have to remove a couple other things for that particular to come through. But anyway, I guess I'm just saying I don't think I don't think that's going to change Obama's mind. It's never going to change Pelosi's mind or even the voters' mind. I'm just saying I think it's worth just bringing up and putting out there so that, again, when all these people in the middle that either don't care about guns or only care about guns when it's necessary, do a little bit of research, it's out there for them to find. And I have faith that once rational people look around at what's out there, you give them good info, and they'll act on it. Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's the way our system's built, right?
You got more faith than me, brother.
Well, if we do nothing, then we're guaranteed to lose, right? But I'm just saying, I'd like to do these mind games because, again, if we can get the Chinese stuff... Well, okay, let's talk about the petitions. Since we're kind of talking about petitioning government to remove laws, there's some petitions now at whitehouse.gov to remove SBR from the NFA and then remove suppressor from the NFA, 2 separate petitions. Are those worth doing? And then, let's say that best possible scenario, we get enough votes or whatever and they have to address it. How do we then move to the next level is to try to get those off the NFA.
I don't know. That's
I'd personally love it if suppressors and SBRs were off the NFA. I mean, like the thing with suppressors, which stop calling them suppressors, call them silencers. The whole thing with silencers is it's stupid. I mean, none of us are allowed to drive our car around without a muffler on it. And the whole fact that what's the main complaint about shooting ranges? The noise. I mean, the fact that we're not allowed to use something that saves people's hearing and makes things better for the community is just insane. I mean, if they outlawed mufflers, what kind of outpouring of rage would there be within the communities? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Let me give you 2 more things to throw on there. It's also environmentally conscious because all those solvents and things that we use to clean our guns are pushed out the end with the bullet. This collects all those so that the environment is saved, and it lengthens the gun so criminals are less likely to use it.
right. Well, they require it in Europe.
Right. Yeah.
So,
like when Remington and Ruger send guns out of the country, they all have threaded barrels.
I think the scene of a guy spinning a silencer on before he goes in to kill someone silently so no one notices it and he just walks out the back door, I think that's been put in too many people's heads too many times.
Well, silencers definitely have a negative connotation associated with them, but that's where we gotta,
Right. It's about education. It's about education, and it's like a lot of states you can't hunt with a silencer, and I think it's funny because they call it the Fair Chase Act or whatever. I think it's funny because bullets are supersonic. That you never hear the round that kills you. I mean, the bullet gets there before the sound. So having a suppressor on the gun doesn't make you like a more stealthy hunter. It's just insane.
Yeah. From a place you can't see comes a sound you can't hear.
Yeah.
So that brings me to a good.
Go
ahead.
I just want to bring up the American Suppressor Association in 2012, before the whole garbage with the Sandy Hook and then the political garbage that came from that, was doing pretty good headway towards talking the NFA into removing the suppressor, at least from the forms required on the registry or whatever, or somehow getting it to where you could do it with a 4473, and then it all went to crap. So again, we have to collect ourselves and get back on game, but if we can go with the momentum they had and have another group. And come on, with all the AR manufacturers, we can get a group together called the short rifles aren't going to hurt anybody, whatever group, and they can petition the NFA or excuse me ATF.
Well, even better than that, like in Georgia, we just passed being able to hunt with silencers. So I think the more states that pass, legislation allowing hunters to use silencers, as that becomes more of a common practice amongst a lot of states, I think that would be, that's going to go further to passing some, legislation, like permanent legislation on a federal level.
I have an SBR question. Is the reason SBRs you have to go through the whole rigmarole to get an SBR is simply the length of the barrel?
Yeah.
Is the logic behind that simply that it's more concealable?
No. Basically, it's a twisted history of stupid regulations and a law thrown in there, and they just made these arbitrary. If it's this long or it's this, like for instance, it's illegal to put a shoulder stock on a pistol, and it's illegal to make your rifle into a pistol. You can't make a rifle shorter, and you can't make a pistol longer, because then it would be like the other one, like just stupid, nonsensical stuff.
And while we're on that, what's your personal feeling about these new SIG braces that are coming?
I think nobody is ever going to buy another fucking SBR tax stamp again. That's what I
think. Do you think that's ultimately going to hurt us, or do you think that's going to show them that, hey, there's no reason to have an SBR law?
Wait a minute. Hurt who? How?
By bringing attention to the fact, from the politicians, bringing attention to the fact that the general public is able to
have a pistol.
To have a pistol now.
We're allowed to have pistols.
Oh yeah. Well, you know where I'm going with that.
Do you really think the politicians are smart enough to dig that deep to figure out the difference between them when they're looking at a rack of rifles?
Well, I don't know if the politicians are, but the $50 million Bloomberg has will pay off somebody who's smart enough. At least we got to assume so, right?
I'm taking him on personally, so we're all going to be fine.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. But Stone Guy, my answer is to that. It's only going to damage us if we let it. I could just as easily see a scenario where they attack the arm brace because you can shoulder the arm brace. I guess is what you're getting at. And then why can't we say then, since since this law, like James said, is so arbitrary and just illogical, then why don't we just remove the law? Why do we, if your problem is where the line in the sand is, then just get rid of the fence or just get rid of the line. It's an unnecessary one.
Oh, fence. Speaking of that shit, switching gears real quick. James, what do you think about, well, I don't know if you heard today, I think it was a senator from Texas ordered, I don't remember, some number, pick a number, of National Guard troops down to the border.
Uh-huh.
What do you think about that situation going on there? How we're handling that?
I'll pick the number, 100 million.
It's here's the short end is our damn border needs to be secure. I mean, I don't think anybody thinks our border should be open. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And then comes the more complicated issues, like what do we do with the ones that are here? What do we do with the ones that have been here for 10 years or 20 years? It gets really complicated really fast, but I think we can all agree, as far as a national security issue, that border needs to be sealed.
Yep, and that's what that senator from Texas said. He's like, I'm tired. He basically put out a statement that said, I'm tired of the the bullshit he's getting from Washington saying they're going to do something and not following through. So he decided to order it himself.
You want that you want that border sealed off? Don't call the National Guard. Call Blackwater. Call somebody that's actually going to shoot folks.
Yep. Oh, governor of Texas. What would I say, senator? Yeah. So the governor of Texas.
He brought in the National Guard, or he brought in State Guard?
No, National Guard. He called in the National Guard from what I...
Did they show up?
10,000. What is it? 1,000 or 10,000?
They're under his command.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh
the
yeah, I mean
National
they have
Guard
to.
is still Texas property.
Yeah. So I just think that's kind of a whole another issue there. But
I'll tell you right now, if Texas, when Texas secedes, I'm moving to Texas.
yeah, Texas has definitely got their shit together.
I just want a Texas passport.
How cool would that be?
Be ambassador to Texas.
I'm from
So,
Tennessee, so I got to end. The rest of you guys, I can't help. You know.
so someone's asking about your precision rifle class. What does it entail? Is it more geared towards semi-auto or bolt rifle?
We have a website and we have a discussion forum with about 10,000 course reviews. If they are too lazy to go to my website or too lazy to go look up the course reviews, I do not want them as a student.
There you go.
Listen, I got more business than I can handle, so it's time for me to start firing people. So all these undedicated people that want to just ask me a question instead of go look for it for themselves, I don't want their business. I got more than I can handle.
There you have it.
What do you say to
What other countries are still manufacturing AKs?
that? Only about 200 and something.
Yeah, all the rest of them. And probably some more now that Russia quit. Hey, but on a personal note, let me ask you about John. Every time I see the Instagram stuff now, because he's been doing that more stuff on Instagram with the Facebook thing, his shop must be getting bigger than when I was there, huh?
Dude, it's crazy, G-Web. It's crazy. Like, I mean, like they make just pants belts. They probably make 1,000 a week.
Damn.
And think about all the other stuff, the chest rigs and the pouches and the bags and all the the combat cocks. I bet they sell 500 or 1,000 combat cocks a week.
That's awesome.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw your video. So Facebook locked his account temporarily, or?
Yeah, for 30 days.
Because some jackass decided to be,
He got his vagina hurt.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I can't understand. I mean, just because they had a little banter back and forth, they locked his page. That's kind of a shitty move.
Well, but now, in Facebook's defense, some of the guys on John's page are techie. You know, they're computer oriented, and it's like I think some of the guys, if I remember John saying correctly, they searched out put his personal information up there, and stuff like that. And
I gotcha.
so I kind of could see that being a concern, and that's the thing is, like, people are worried about like my armed militia taking over the country. Dude, I got computer geeks that can steal all your money. like you think I have an army of militia dudes? I've got an army of computer geeks, man. I could take over the entire world with these guys. And so when somebody's picking on me online, 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 guys will email me that dude's personal information, just unsolicited. I don't even ask for it. I just get it.
Something else I was going to touch on real quick about the border thing is, and I hate to draw the comparison to the Bundy Ranch because it's a completely different situation. But it's kind of the same principle that someone needs help.
Yeah.
And I'm curious why you think there hasn't been some kind of militia movement down to the border to secure it.
There are militias down there. I was just talking to some guys from the Arizona militia just a few days ago. They are down there.
Okay, they're just not getting the media coverage, huh?
Yeah, they're getting zero media coverage. I was supposed to, the head, I gave my number to a mutual friend of the head of the Arizona militia, and he was supposed to get with me, and I was going to do like a Google hangout with them and try to get them some attention down there. But they are down there.
Okay, well that's good to hear.
There's also like the Border Watch guys where they'll set up game cams and stuff. Those guys have constantly been active. They're always active.
Oh, speaking of that, James. Had a couple people ask, "What's the progress of Ammonation? How's that? What's that looking like?" And
well, we've got 2 episodes out, and we're working on the rest of them, and we've got at least 4 more solid episodes. And then I've got a bunch of stuff I don't know what to do with. And what I mean by that is I got like a really cool 5-minute segment here or a cool 20-minute segment over here that just don't really fit into a show anywhere. And so I think I'll just drop those off as little bits and pieces along the way of just really neat stuff.
Those are the DVD extras.
Well,
yeah, the extra features.
And not, obviously, I mean, don't take this the wrong way, because I mean, you're gonna, do what you want. But I honestly thought that the Ammonation was going to be more of a, like maybe a 2-hour documentary versus like segments. Was that always the case, or?
Well, at first I was just going to do a quote-unquote documentary, and I was asking for $10,000. Then I got $20,000 in 24 hours, and I got almost $40,000 by the time it was over. So I can't say I'm going to do one thing and get 4 times the money and not do more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so we did more, and we've got a bunch of good stuff. We just got to get the editing finished and get it out and stuff like that. But
so is the general setup going to be like little segment 30-45 minute segments versus like a movie style documentary?
Yeah, like
okay.
Yeah. And the thing is, people keep saying stuff like there needs to be more shooting or whatever, and from the beginning, if you read the original concept, if you watch the original concept video, it never was about guns. Ammonation is about people, and the first 2 things we got up there are really neat. We got the only real interview with Mr. Bundy, and then we've got a real interview with Buzz Mills out at Gunsight. You just don't get a camera and an hour from Buzz Mills, and people. I don't think people are appreciating how actually cool those 2 are, and we've got stuff coming that's even cooler than that. And yeah, it's boring. It's some guy sitting there talking, but if you actually want to know what's going on in the world and know the history of our culture, there's some really good stuff there.
And that's what it's all about, yeah. It's too easy to just get enamored with the flashy stuff. It's about showing what's below that.
Yeah, because I mean, there's 100 shooting videos out there. I like more of the mindset and the lifestyle and the philosophy behind the shooter.
Right.
So,
like one of the videos with Buzz Mills, his dog is laying there on the floor snoring, and people are complaining about it. And I'm like, dude, guns and dogs go together like peanut butter and jelly, and the dog snoring I thought was actually comical, not I didn't think it hurt anything.
To me, it shows that it's real, because it's not real when it's keeps fading in and out, and it goes to like a video of something, and then there's an eagle flying, and yeah.
Right.
Have you ever tried a Black Wolf Glock? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I don't.
No, you just got trolled, dude. That's Ed's nemesis.
No, that's from Glock Guru.
Don't drag Jason.
He's making a joke. Don't bring it up.
Yeah, horrible internal joke.
Oh, never mind. Okay.
Oh, now it hit Stone Guy.
Yeah, never mind. That was not a legitimate question.
A crazy character we have over on Gun Channels right now, and a whole long story that we won't get into.
Guru wins.
Let's see. Have you had anybody pass a class with a 1911 yet?
Yet? Yeah. I mean, I've had 1911s make it through class, just not many. And it's funny because like a guy came through a couple months ago with a SIG. He was like, "My 1911 made it through." I said, "That's not a 1911." He said, "Yes, it is. It's a SIG 1911." And I said, "Will it fit in a 1911 holster?" And he went, "No." Yeah. And will any 1911 parts off the shelf fit it? No. Not a 1911.
Now, I know I've seen from previous videos that you've put out, you've had kids in your class, and someone was just asking about the experience with the Appleseed organization. Is that something you'd participate in, or
I've shot Appleseed before. I shot um, whatever their high rank, their high classification or their high qualification is. They said I was the only person that ever shot that without a sling because I was using a single point instead of one of those slings you wrap up in. Um, but that was probably 3 or 4 years ago. But I thought it was neat, and I really like how they intersperse history lessons in the class and stuff like that. I thought it was a real neat event. It's great for families. It's very family oriented. It's very kid oriented, and it's very 22 Ruger 1022 oriented. And I think it's great. It's not a tactical training class. They don't say it is. They don't act like it is. It's just about marksmanship, and it's an enjoyable day or a weekend.
Right on.
In most training classes that people are getting all tactical about, those aren't marksmanship classes. You got to get your marksmanship stuff somewhere.
Right. No, I'm a big believer in Appleseed Project. Matter of fact, all their quote unquote red hat instructors, I let them take fighting pistol for free.
Well, since we're on that with the training, let's give you an opportunity.
Oh, since we're talking about free training,
No, not free training. No.
I've already offered you fuckers, all of you fuckers.
Yeah, no, I wasn't going to say that. I was talking about
Kevin's afraid of it. Kevin's afraid.
We're coming in November.
Whatever.
Give me the date. Give me the weekend. We're there.
Whatever.
Oh shit! I'm coming with you then. I want to see this for myself. There, Tack.
I'm gonna go tell you right now. I'm punching Kevin when he gets here.
Oh, I can't wait.
I'm gonna sock him in the gut.
All right.
I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and admit I'm being a pussy because I am damn sure waiting until wintertime to take your course.
I don't blame you.
Some guy's like, I'll hold Kevin for you while you hit him.
Yeah, right.
Like, fuck that. I am not going to Tennessee in summer and sweating my balls off. But so anyway, is there any new classes you're obviously, they can go to your website, but is there anything you want to announce that you're doing, any new classes or any new products that you're promoting?
No, if they're not motivated to go look, I don't care. Like people ask me, "Hey, tell them your website," and they go, "If they're so stupid they don't know how to find my website, I don't want them as a customer."
I just got done reading the entire Off the X website last weekend.
No, you didn't.
Start to finish.
I read Google.
If that was possible, I wonder how many years it would take somebody.
Yeah.
I read the internet last night.
Yeah.
Now I was going to say, let me ask you this, James. With with all these chats we've been doing, and just the gun community as a whole this last couple of years, have you noticed an increase in your training, participants and or products, students? Thank you. I couldn't fucking think of the word.
Yeah, we've grown every single year since the first year we started, and last year, of course, every year, of course, is our biggest year. Last year we had 4,337 students, and we've had almost that many so far this year.
Wow. And what about because I know you guys offer a lot of gear, like the Vox. That's one of my favorite little.
Actually, we did used to have a pretty good gear store, and I figured out that I can't run two companies. And so I've just kind of let the gear store die on the vine.
Okay, so no increase in.
No,
I've always wanted to talk to to really from someone that's in the industry to see if there's been a big surge in people becoming more prepared and buying more products, buying more ventilated operator kits and.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just across the board. Since especially since 2008, that seemed like it was a big push that year. But yeah, it's phenomenal, and it's funny because we'll have a couple show up, and we have couples all the time. But there's a couple in class, and maybe during a break or whatever, I'll go over and start talking to them, and I go, "Hey, why are you here?" And they're like, "Oh, we heard you guys had a good reputation." And I go, "Oh, thanks, but no, that's not what I'm talking about. Why are you anywhere taking a class? Why are you doing this?" And they look around as if they're about to tell an off-color joke, and they go, "Well, we bought these guns, and we got some food at the house, and we bought some medical supplies, and we think the world's going to shit." And I look around and go, hey, everybody, these two people think the world's going to shit. And everybody laughs because everybody's there for the same reason.
Yeah. That's true.
Do you know when it's going to happen?
The day the world's going to turn to shit.
I'd say that training before that, apparently.
What was that, 2008?
2012 was the movie. That's when the Mayan calendar ran out. And I was like dealing with people who have an extinct culture to tell me when the future date of the world is going to end.
Well, the only thing I will give that ass clown credit for is he did stand up on the on stage on his inauguration, and he told us flat out he's going to fundamentally change America as we know it, and he damn sure has. So I don't guess we have anybody to fault but ourselves for that.
Careful what you wish for, you'll get it.
Yeah, Kevin, what's up with that? I just want to go on record in case you guys didn't realize that Tack Daddy voted for him.
No.
Oh,
twice.
Now you're invited to mistake twice.
Now we're into the land of slander. Hey, James, I wanted to actually take that question one step further. So, what is the discussion after the class? So now a couple's come in. They said, hey, we think we're a little bit aware some crap's going to go down. We want to be prepared so that we can bug in, bug out, whatever it may be. Now we've got some training and we're proficient, a little bit more proficient in our guns. Does that conversation end there? Is there communication later where groups are forming, or where do you think this is going from here?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like with that, we'll shrink it down to me talking to that couple. By the time I'm finished talking to them, they always want to know what class they should take next. I mean, we almost 100% of people that take a class from us take another class from us. I mean, it's like over 90%. And so I don't just try to sell them stuff like classes. I mean, I really want to find out what it is I do that can help them. And but on a broader scale, our forum, like getoffthex.com, there's been all kinds of training groups pop up, like we do a lot of classes, for instance, in Bastrop, Texas. So they have a little training group that gets down there once a month, and all those guys are alumni, and they work on things, they practice things from classes and stuff like that. And so there's all kinds of those little groups around the country, and most of them congregate or meet each other on Get Off the X, and then kind of go from there.
Have you ever tracked your percentage of return customers, so to speak?
Yeah, as best I can. Like I said, it's over 90%.
Damn, that's sweet. That's pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, after they get that first serving of Kool-Aid, they can't wait for more.
So speaking of that, do you have anything trained into them that if it's an emergency, they have some type of psychological training to return to you as an army or anything?
He doesn't want to tell you about what happens in the team room. Stays in the team room.
Right, you got to take the class to get the psychological shit.
That's just happened. You mean are you talking about like I can say a word and they're hypnotized and they come back here?
Do you put a chip in the back of their head or give them the proper dose of hallucinogens?
There's going to be a James Yeager video. He's just going to come on screen. And
are they bulletproof? Like they can't feel bullets when they're shot? I mean, how far does the training go?
I can assure you right now that the technology doesn't exist for me to punch my screen and hit you on the other side, because I would have done that.
Damn, look at that. Question. Coming in late, talking over people, pissing Yeager off. What the fuck is wrong with you?
How funny would it be if you punched your screen and his laptop screen came down?
It could happen.
Oh, speaking of the psychological part of that guy you had, I don't know who he was, but the video you released today of that guy giving the crazy hot list.
That's my attorney.
That was the funniest shit I've ever... Dude, I was cracking up.
Dude, that's my attorney, and he had just sketched that out on a back of a Target for me, and I said, dude, this got to be on YouTube. He said, get a fucking camera, and so we fired it up and just did it right off the cuff.
Oh, man. Dude, that was the funniest shit. I was like, almost pissed myself. I was laughing so hard.
I'll get him to do a hangout with you.
Oh, dude, that would be great. He seems like a straight up dude, and he was so funny. Like,
He's awesome. Like when I was going to go out to the Bundy Ranch, I gave him a call, in case I got arrested or something. And and my mom, I was in my truck, and my mom was sitting beside me, and I said, I got to call my attorney. And I got off the phone, and she said, did he try to talk you out of it? And I said, no, Mom. I said, actually, there was about a 50% chance he was going to go with me.
yeah, that was awesome.
But yeah, he's a stellar attorney. I'm not even joking. He's a fantastic attorney, but he's got just a great sense of humor. Oh, and he's a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And a shooter.
It's a good attorney to have.
Dude, I mean, like, I want to get a bumper sticker that says, my attorney can choke your attorney out.
I've known a few prosecutors who carry. Never met a defense one who did, but yeah, cool.
Oh, that's awesome. See, any other questions popping up, guys? That you're seeing?
I have a whole list, but I'm saving them for Thursday. James, I've got you on my calendar for Thursday night.
Whatever.
All right.
Whatever.
Quick question. What percentage of people that get punched come back?
100%.
Awesome.
Especially the women. They love it.
Can I have another?
People think like I'm a drill sergeant, like I get you drop down and give me 20 and kick mud on them and stuff like that. I don't know where that comes from.
Now this may be a little bit of a conflict of interest, I
love it. Let's hear it.
All right. So is there any training classes you could recommend for someone, outside of yours, and is there any that you would absolutely tell people to stay away from?
I'm not going to broach the subject of what they should stay away from. If you watch my YouTube video, People I Hate, there's reasons I don't bring their name up, because when I do, it gives them power. Now, there are a lot of people doing a lot of good stuff. I mean, a hint is look at the people I host. I just hosted Jim Fuller for a builder class. I just hosted Patriot Nurse for a medical class. I've hosted in the past Rob Pincus. I have John Farnham here every year. I got Sonny Bazikas coming out in a few months. So the quick answer is to look to see who I actually invite, quote unquote, into my home. Other people that do great stuff I've hosted in the past. Craig Douglas, South Narc, his ECQC class is fantastic. Tom Givens, who works at a Rangemaster in Memphis but travels around, his 2-day combative pistol class is the second best 2-day pistol class in the world. But
James, do you go and take classes, or do you watch them as an instructor?
Oh, I go take. I've taken. Go look at my training.
Look at his list, dude.
Yeah, he's talked about that before. Come on, do you not watch? Do you know who James Yeager is?
I'm a big deal. God damn it!
I am very aware of who James Yeager is.
Don't you know who I think I am?
James Yeager was my hero and made me start making videos on YouTube. Thank you very much.
But now, I can't think of the name, but it's called The Way of the Gun.
Our class, The Way of the Pistol? The Way of the Pistol?
No, not your class. There's another trainer. It's called The Way of the Gun. I can't think of his name.
I don't know what that is.
I'll have to look it up and see if I was going to see if you, because he's coming in our area soon, and I was going to see if you had any personal experience or knowledge of whether he's relevant or not.
I don't know him. I mean, there's like, this is like a renaissance period for training and gear and all kinds of stuff. There are a lot of guys doing a lot of really good stuff right now around the country. I mean, really, there's a lot of cool stuff going on.
There's pretty good odds you just saw the announcement of the sequel to the movie being shot in your area.
What's that?
The Way of the Gun movie. That's
a good movie. Benicio del Toro, Ryan Phillippe.
Yeah. What about
James
the sequel?
Caan?
I'm just saying there's a good chance that Stone Guy misunderstood that he's reading that they're filming the sequel or something in his area.
But bringing up James Caan, he's a shooter. He was an old gun sight guy. And if you watch any of those old James Caan movies, especially like Thief, there's some really good gun handling in those movies.
I can say there is a lack of good gun handling in most movies, so it is good when you see it.
Well, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to publicly announce what movie, but I have been filmed. I'm going to be appearing in a movie, and the director told me the reason I was picked is because it's easier to teach me how to act than to teach an actor how to shoot.
Dude, they made the Muppets go to Tennessee finally?
Yep.
Frank Proctor. You ever heard of him?
No.
Frank Proctor, Way of the Gun. Okay. All right, I'll do my own research.
And that's not bad that I haven't heard of him. There's a lot of guys out there that I can't keep up with everybody. That doesn't mean he's not good. I just don't know him.
Right on.
So this movie, are you going to be like bad guy number 3? Like, is that going to be your name in it, or you can have actual name in it?
It's funny because I'm actually going to be bad guy number 2. I'm going to be the right hand man, the right hand man for the main bad guy, and the director promised me a Glock, an AK, and a glorious death.
Hell yeah!
That sounds awesome.
I was like, woo woo.
That's
See,
awesome.
I think you and the Muppets at the range would be gold.
Have you been to have you been to the set yet or seen any of the?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, you've already done. Okay, sweet. So what about the actual the props that they use? Are they completely replicas? Are they real guns? I've always been curious about movie props when it comes to firearms.
It's a mix. There's a lot of, the company Rings that makes blue guns, they actually got into business making fake guns for movies, and then that transmitted over to making the blue guns for tactical training. But a lot of times, most of the guns you see are plastic or rubber.
Okay. Yeah, I was always curious about that.
But Rifle Dynamics builds movie guns. Those are the people that build movie guns that are real guns, and they plug the barrels for blanks and all that kind of stuff.
Now, are you going to be like helping them edit it so that there's not like you pulling out a Glock and clicking the hammer back or something?
No, but this director is a nut about the gun stuff being correct. Again, like he seeked me out, so like he's a nut for it being correct.
Saw it.
So we were talking the other day, James. Despite the training, as a general rule, what would you say? How many rounds a month would you say you need to shoot out of your gun to stay proficient?
0.
That's a new answer.
You can do everything you need to do dry practice.
James, you have a great dry practice video that I referred to.
I need to finish. Thanks, Kevin. I need to finish that. I need to do some more videos and actually show people more stuff. But you can do so much dry practice. I mean, so much. There's really no excuse for people to let their skills get rusty.
Huh, that's awesome. I honest to God, you're the only one that said that. Everybody else was like, 50, 100, 300.
Has anybody else trained 35,000 people?
Not on my chats.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way you can put that a number on that. But dry practice is universal. Like professional shooters, I mean, people that get paid to shoot, that's their job. They're like 7 hours of dry practice per 1 hour of live fire.
Right.
Like when you see, like a few years ago, there was a video of Tomasi on the Army shooting team doing this super fast reload, just doing this super fast reload dry. People are like, wow, that was really fast. I'm like, did you notice it was dry? And they're like, yeah. I said, that's how we got so fast. Was dry, just doing dry reloads over and over and over and over.
Right. And you would, and that converts for pistol and rifle, correct?
Everything. Like there's no exception to the rule. Dry practice is good.
Now, are you a proponent of using a blue training gun or using snap caps in your actual carry gun?
A combination of both. First off, everybody that's a serious pistolero should have a blue gun replica. That's just end of story. Because if you're going to do stuff like, pull your car into the garage and practice drawing your pistol while you're seat belted and getting out of the seat belt and stuff like that. Well, blue gun's great for that. But if you're going to do reloads, don't use snap caps. They're really expensive. Use like Safety Trainer brand and that are a lot cheaper. And you can do malfunctions. You can do reloads. You can do all that stuff with dummy rounds. I mean, there's so much stuff. So much stuff. What else?
Last one I can see that's an actual question is: have any of the alumni ever called tactical response for legal help involving concealed carry?
Hell, G Web, you know that answer.
Yeah.
So you know DB,
well,
right?
I'm sorry, I was reading it. At first I thought it said, had you ever considered offering legal help? Like I was thinking it was insurance, but then as I was reading it, yeah.
I mean, I've been an expert witness more than once.
So you know DB Cooper, right? Took your class, James?
Yeah. Right.
He's asking.
Well, tell him he had his chance to ask me a question.
How many rounds does that Century Arms USAK have through it?
I don't know. More than 10,000, less than 20,000.
Right on. So you still no issues?
Nah, I mean, until I get like 25 or 30,000 rounds through it, as far as I'm concerned, it's still in beta testing.
Oh, let's go ahead and lay this myth to rest. What's the typical life expectancy under normal conditions? I'm not talking about mag dumping 20,000 rounds, but a typical barrel life on an AK and an AR.
Well, I was at Daniel Defense a couple years ago, and they have 2 barrel making machines down there, and they make really good barrels. And so, keeping in mind that a bullet is only in the barrel for a fraction of a second, right?
Yep.
It takes about 10,000 rounds to wear out an AR-15 barrel, and when I say wear out, where it's shooting more than a 4 MOA group. Okay, so how long is an AR barrel actually in use before it's worn out? Anybody want to guess?
Let's say 10 to wear. I say 40.
40 what?
40,000.
No. How long? Like how much time?
How long does it take an average shooter to get up to 10,000 rounds?
Oh, okay.
No.
Average shooter never.
Stop. Listen. Keeping in mind that the bullet is only in the barrel for a fraction of a second, how long is the barrel in use before it's worn out?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So what, like a couple of minutes or something?
11 seconds.
Wow.
What?
So in other words, if you had like a chain, a gun that was running off a belt with 10,000 rounds on it, it would take you 11,000 rounds before it was shooting sloppy.
11 seconds.
Excuse me, it's 11 seconds.
11. Wow. That's a fucking cool stat. 11 seconds.
So, having said that, barrels can last much longer than that. They have, and again, I've got Wassers with 60, 70, 80,000 rounds through them. Yeah, they probably shoot a 5-inch group at 100 yards on their best day, but they still work and they're still good enough.
And does that apply to AKs as well as ARs? They're about the same, or AKs inherently more durable?
It's AKs are all over the place as far as hardness of the steels and heat treating and all the other stuff. Like there's no way you can say definitively. Like for instance, an M4 barrel has if it's mil spec, it has a specification that it has to meet for hardness and all that. AKs, they're made in so many different countries. There's no way you could ever have a set number like that for those.
So I have a question real quick, James. Has anyone ever in one of your training classes with an AK shot so fast that they caught their handguards on fire?
That is impossible. I've got 10 full auto AKs, and they won't do that.
Okay. I've
there's a
heard that
guy.
myth. So
There's a guy online. There's a YouTube video with a guy shooting and his handguard's on fire, but you don't see the handguard catch on fire. It just shows the gun and the handguard's on fire. Those guys set that handguard on fire and made that video.
Oh yeah, the one where they dump it in the mud puddle afterwards or some shit.
I don't know. The one where it's on fire. I don't know.
Yeah.
now you're going to tell me that pop rocks and sodas can't kill you.
I don't know about that, but here's what I do know: if you go over the Carnet Con and look at his Ameriflage video, that's my new camo I'm getting.
What's the pattern called again?
Ameriflage.
Ameriflage.
Yeah, if anybody listening to this has not seen the Carnet Con Ameriflage video, you really are missing out.
Huh. I'll have to check that out. I love that multicam. I mean, that's the best thing since.
Ameriflage beats multicam 10 times out of 10.
Oh, and then I got that mini rig from SOE, and it's that like weird ass pattern. What's that pattern called? He does. It's like
Cryptech or something.
Yeah, Cryptech. That's cool looking stuff.
Looks like reptilian or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's neat looking stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, and real quick, do you have any experience with all the craze for the hydro dip stuff now? What's your opinion on that hydro dip? And
it's pretty. It's got about the lasting power of spray paint.
Really? So the wears off much faster than a Cerakote or Duracoat?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just a sticker. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's neat. It looks good, you know. I mean, but it's got no real protective property, really.
Purely aesthetics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
There is a code that goes on at the end. It makes it better than spray paint, but yes, it's not the greatest thing in the world. It's not. It's definitely an aesthetic thing.
So I think that's. I want to wind it down here. If anybody has any last minute questions, throw them out there. But James was nice enough to come on here. We've been going a little over an hour, so I don't want to keep him too long. But so we'll give it a second, see if anybody's got any final thoughts or questions.
Well, just while you're waiting, thanks for having me on. Thanks everybody that took time out of their evening to listen to me and the other guys ramble and G-Webs, you're always a pleasure. Tac Daddy, I wish you would never talk to me again.
I'm gonna be like a nightmare, a recurring nightmare.
Gotta love it.
Well, I gotta figure out where I am with James. I gotta figure out where I am with James. James, if I ever meet you in person, are you gonna hit me in the face or the stomach?
I'll give you the choice. I'll say head or gut. I'll let you. I'll go ahead and let you.
He likes me. He's gonna give me a choice. He likes me.
Someone's saying need to get Reed on. What happened to Reed? Hadn't seen him do a video lately.
Listen, there's only enough spotlight for one person at Tactical Response, and that's no, Reed and those guys have been working real hard. Actually, Reed has got a 3-video series. I believe it starts tomorrow. Another one of his historical lectures that starts. I believe it starts tomorrow. That's going to be real popular. It's a good listen.
Okay, hold on. There's one. It says, as far as dry practice goes, how do you deal with the reflex of racking your pistol after every trigger pull?
Why is that a reflex? And why are you pressing the trigger?
So it's that Nether Thor 66. You're dry practicing wrong.
There's really no need to press the trigger unless you're trying to shoot the gun.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, man, dude, I appreciate you taking your time out and spending some time with us.
Yeah.
and answering questions and humoring us. And
No, I enjoyed it. I like hanging out with you guys.
but yeah, that was awesome. Stayed on
So, man,
topic. Good shit. So I appreciate it, man. As always, we'll have you back at some point. So, um, for anybody that's fucking lived under a rock or whatever, obviously check out James Yeager, Tactical Response. I'm sure you guys all know who he is, but if for some reason you don't, go check him out.
Yeah.
Good dude. That's it, man. I think we'll shut it down. Probably go over to Gun Channel's lobby. We'll run a lobby show after this. But I appreciate everybody tuning in and participating. Thanks, guys, for all the questions out there, and we'll catch you next time.
Take it easy.